traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Lunch Money webinar. Hope everybody's having a great trading session. And crude is really coming under some pressure here. As you can see, let me pull it up right over here. We had inventory build, and crude is really selling off here. Let's go ahead and pull up crude oil. Here's crude coming, pretty heavily under pressure. See that sell-off picking up some steam here, and yeah, this is a big build. They expected a draw, so crude's finally starting to buckle under some pressure, and it's given some downside pressure to the Canadian currency. You can see the dollar Canadian is back up at 134. Here's the dollar Canadian. Back up at 134 here, but overall, the dollar is just kind of, languishing around. I mean, we're not seeing a huge move in the dollar one way or the other. The euro, rallied up to 104.50 and backed off a little bit. These commodity currencies have traded a little heavier most of the day. The Kiwi and the Aussie are down a few pips. The pound's been trading somewhat heavy. As well, we got a little bit of bounce off the lows, but overall, it's kind of a mixed bag today. Not a lot of direction, not a lot of guidance to where we're at, and overall, I think it's just a quiet session. The stock market, it came really close. I mean, if you look at the Dow today, the high was 19,986.56, so we were 14 points away from hitting 20,000, and we're still within striking distance of 20,000. So I don't know if the market's really going to try to back away from there. Here's the Dow. You can see how we popped up there at the open. We're just kind of hanging tight. I think it's just a matter of time before we tag it. You'd think, but when I say the last time, but actually when we were at 18,000, we had a very similar issue, but we never hit 18,000. It took, and then we backed away. You can see right here. The high was 17,991. We came basically 9 points away from 18,000. We sold off really quickly. I don't know if we're going to get that necessarily right now, but the fact that we're just holding up against our highs suggests that we're eventually going to make it. But man, this has been one hell of a move since the election. You can see that that's where we're at, and I mean we've rallied. I mean, God, that's 20%. 20%, big, or 20%, 10%. It's a big move in a very short period of time. So let's see here, extension-wise, past the 261% extension, 161% extension just overhead. Here, 20,100. That looks like we're going to tag that at some point, and maybe that's where the Dow eventually hits. But 20,000 seems very logical, and I'm assuming we're going to do it. When we're probably going to do it is we're probably going to do it when no one's looking. Between Christmas and New Year's. That would be my assumption. Is we're just going up there. We're going to tag that resistance up there. So overall, again, very, very mixed signals. The currency market is just kind of flat, and these are the types of days where I'm sitting here doing a webinar, and I'm going to spend the next hour with you guys, and when there's nothing going on. So you start, trying to figure out. You try to figure out something to talk about for the next hour. That's a, that's always the challenge of me doing these webinars, especially you know, at times of the day when, you know, things just aren't really moving. Yeah, it says, good morning, Blake. I don't know if this will work for you, but is it possible for you to post your bias chart on Twitter every morning after you leave just to confirm our morning analysis, please? If not, I understand. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. You know, what I do in the markets moving forward, I'm gonna keep a lot of what I do close to the vest, you know, um, as I'm gonna be moving larger amounts of money. I'm sure you guys could probably understand why. I'm going to make a lot less stuff free due to the nature of what I'm doing. Um, but I'll still be posting stuff. I don't know if I'm going to post my bias chart necessarily. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? I'm not sure if that made sense at all. But um, let's see here. I want to take a look at some of these crosses. So let's take a look at the Euro Aussie first and foremost. So the Euro Aussie, you know, we're in this descending wedge. I'm not sure which wedge is playing right now. I had them drawn a couple of different ways. Um, but you can see, regardless, we have a descending wedge, and we're not too far from, you know, from resistance here. You know, this resistance is probably going to be a pretty big deal should we scale it. That's at 145. We're at 143.90. Euro Canadian, you know, we're trying. I mean, but you guys know above 140.50, it's going to turn bullish. Euro New Zealand, I am long. We have a nice little cup and handle pattern trying to play out. You know, break above 152 is going to be very bullish, in my opinion. Here's the Euro New Zealand, and we've already got a cup and handle pattern trying to break out. This one I'll feel a little bit more comfortable about following the New Zealand GDP. So New Zealand GDP is a big deal today for the Kiwi, and that comes out at 4:45 Eastern. So you know, I'll be paying very close attention to what happens with that. Let's go over to the pound Aussie. Here's the pound Aussie. So the pound Aussie has a nice little wedge here. Gotta keep an eye on it because obviously if we break the top side, it'd be bullish. If we break, you know, back through 170, it'd be bearish. Pound Canadian doesn't look as favorable as the Euro Canadian right now. Kind of messy charts here. Let's get rid of that. And here's the pound New Zealand. The pound New Zealand, nice little, you know, cup and handle also developing there, but we have to get above 180. Let's get rid of this. We have to get above 180 to get bullish here. Trying to build some, you know, upside momentum. Now I have a little bit of pound New Zealand as well, just a small position that I'm sitting in on the long side. But you know, all those I'm really waiting for. I'm really waiting for the New Zealand GDP today. So Vince said, "Good morning, Blake. I know you said we're going to talk about strategies on Friday. Are you doing some shows, and will there be info on during both shows?" Yeah, I'm going to wing it. It's not like anything formal. I just want to talk about some things that I think help me along the way. Not necessarily strategies. Do this, do that, do this, and you're guaranteed to make money. I won't do that. You're not going to get that out of me. You know what I'm saying? It's not the type. But little tricks of the trade that I think that will take you farther than you are. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, I'm not going to say, when you see this, and then you do this, you're going to make money every time. Like mint it, guarantees. I'm not doing that. It's going to be more of, you know, kind of things to think about. Things that I think will help polish you as a trader, or that maybe you have considered, or maybe will reinforce what you're doing. Um, Max is Blake. Speaking of large amounts of money, what do you think is volume of that magnitude you cannot trade without moving markets? Use any currency as an example. 100 lots? No. 100 lots. I mean, you got to be piecing $25 million worth of currency, and then you're going to have to start requesting quotes at that point. So it depends on the broker. So it depends on who your prime broker is. Um, any type of retail trader, you could buy $1 million worth of currency and it's going to be no problem. You can buy $5 million of currency and it's going to be no problem. You start getting in the 10, 20, 25 million. Like I'm going to buy 25 million of the euro dollar, for example. Yeah, the brokerage firm's going to have to make sure they can match you up with that trade. They're not, when you're buying that much currency, they have to make sure that they got somebody who's going to take the other side of it. Alex says, "Hey Blake, everyone seems New Zealand dollar bearish, and with the New Zealand GDP news today, can you explore the two scenarios where results are New Zealand bearish and bullish, trying to figure out stop losses and limits?" Well, first of all, I think if you're looking at like the Kiwi dollar itself, the Kiwi dollar is in a bearish trend. I mean, period, end of story. I mean, if you look at the New Zealand dollar and you look at the daily chart, this is a head and shoulder pattern, right? We've got a daily head and shoulder pattern with the Kiwi. Um, if the GDP comes in better than expected, like let's say they do 1% this quarter, the Kiwi is going to rally to 70 cents. We're going back here. All right, and if it comes in anything less than 0.8%, we're probably going to see 68 cents. And I think even with a inline, 0.8% on quarterly GDP, even at that, you might get a little bit of a bounce, maybe to 69.50, but it's going to roll right back over again. So I don't. We're going to have a stellar, like big GDP number out of New Zealand to really try to turn the tide. Hello, Rob. Dave says, how about 180 days to your first Lambo for the webinar title? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Daniel says, hey Blake, what do you mean when you say squeeze? I hear you say it a lot. I don't think you are referring to a Bollinger Band squeeze. No. A squeeze is usually referred to as if you're short. So if it's a short squeeze, that means everybody's short the market. If you're short the market, then the market just starts to rally. Getting everybody that's short, they start to turn around and start buying back because they're losing money. That's called a short squeeze. And the opposite would be like a long liquidation. If everybody's long and they think it's going higher, but all of a sudden the market just starts going down, and then it doesn't seem like it's going to recover, and it starts accelerating to the downside. That's usually a long liquidation, the opposite of like a short squeeze. George V says, hey Blake, can you look at the 4-hour New Zealand Canadian? Sure. And 127% is approximately 91 cents. How does that look to you? Yeah, I mean, I see it as well, about 91 cents. That's about right. It's about right if we should get down there. Probably try to get out before 91 cents, like 91 and a quarter, somewhere just before this 127% fib. That's what I would be thinking. All right, guys. I'm going to put you on hold for a few minutes. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. Keep the questions coming, please. Please. Thank you. All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Lunch Money webinar. I want to welcome you all back. Got a couple of questions that came in. Joe asked, what's my longer term outlook for the dollar Canadian? I don't know. I'm a little perplexed with crude at the moment. So I'm going to make it real simple. You see this red line? Let me make it a little bit bigger for you in case you don't see it. You see that red line right there? Is that a little bit more visible? Can you kind of see that? Yeah, as long as we're above that, you're bullish. You get below it, you're bearish. I, you know, I'm not sure what crude's going to do. I personally think crude's going to continue to go lower, and I think it's going to baffle the minds of traders around the globe for the next year. People are going to go, whoa, 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 OPEC cut, and what's going on, and how's crude still going down? I think that that's going to keep a bullish bid underneath the Canadian, frankly. I think the Canadian economy is going to have a tough time with some real estate issues. I think your economy is going to slow down. I know you live in Canada, Joe. That's why I'm saying you in particular. I still believe the Canadian economy is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Now, I think some of the Trump policies are also going to affect the Canadian economy in a negative light. Um, so realistically, I think the dollar Canadian still stays very well bid. And I will put it to you as bluntly as I can, looking at this chart from a technical standpoint. While we're above that big dotted red line, oh, you can't see it here. Let me make sure I can. This one right here, that one. See this one right here? Yeah. See that one? Yeah. I don't want you to miss it. So you got this one. Wait, hold on. Let me do. Okay. You see this one? That one? Yeah. As long as this one right here. See it? That one? Okay. So as long as we're above that, I don't think there's any reason to short it. Okay. This now should we get up here somewhere? Yeah, maybe we can think about shorting it somewhere up here. But while we're close to it, yeah, you just gotta. All jokes aside, I think you really got to stay. You got to look at that as kind of like the bull bear line, if you will. Um, just kind of maintain a bullish bias while you're above that line. You get below it, and then things are going to change a little bit. That means the dollar's probably in trouble, and I don't think it really has. I think it probably has more to do with the dollar in general than the Canadian economy. I'm not real optimistic about your economy right now, moving forward, and it's not because I don't love Canada. I do. But I really think that your real estate market's going to start to fizzle out pretty aggressively. I think that the Trumpian policies are going to really start to weigh on the Canadian economy, and I think you pepper in some risk aversion with all of this. I can't help to think that the dollar Canadian is going to rip higher as a result. Okay, one of the parallels. Yeah, here. Let me. What's the ETF for the VIX? Um, You guys, is it VXX? All right, what the hey? What the hoo-ha? I don't know why it's not popping up. Hold on. Okay. Here's the VIX, right? Long, look, I'm giving you that's a 4 hour. All right, let's go to daily. Okay. These are all splits, so here's a daily VIX. Um, yeah, VXX is leverage. What is the other VIX? What's a better non-leveraged? Anybody? Susan, you would know this right off the top of your head. Um, oh, I just do the VIX. Oh, well, there you go. Okay. You can see a pretty strong relationship between volatility and the dollar Canadian. Um, it was much more apparent, back here, but you can see there's a lot of, parallels to volatility in the VIX. So yeah, it's just the VIX. That's all it was. I was I don't know what I was thinking. It doesn't matter. But anyway, the volatility and Canadian have a pretty close relationship. So if volatility picks up, the dollar Canadian's probably going to spike too. Um, yeah, here you can see it a little bit better there. You can see it, right? Um, so anyway, longer term view of the dollar Canadian. I mean, that is just that. And like I said, I'm not super you know optimistic about the Canadian economy. But but a lot of it is to be seen too. I mean, who knows what happens with Donald Trump and his policies too. I mean, there. That's why I have a really difficult time trying to do predictions, long term, quote unquote predictions in the market, because in my view that it's that you can really look like a fool, um, giving too long a term of view in the market. It's a great thing about being a trader is that we're nimble. We're allowed to change our ideas quickly, and that's what you know that's what I obviously tend to do quite a bit. It's like, hey, there's a reason why I'm so bullish or so bearish right now, and but that can change. I mean, circumstances change. I mean, look at the stock market. I mean, I was all on board with the stock market's going to be bearish if Donald Trump is elected. And the one thing that I didn't see coming is that both the House and Senate would be controlled by Republicans. That's a game changer. There's a lot of things out there that happen that are game changers, and you have to be willing to adapt to it quickly. And in this case, and in this case, I believe the Canadian economy, um, and the Canadian currency, longer term, is going to, we're going back to, levels that we hadn't seen since like 2005 era. Like up here, or well, I guess we're already in 2005, maybe 2002, 2003. You know, like these levels again. Back into the 140, 150 range. Back when, let's see here. Nice. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Back when, the good old days. Hold on.
Wait a second. You know, when you look at a book's price and it says in U.S. dollars and then they quote it in Canadian, those are the good old days. Like this is the old best. You guys want the best Bible? Everybody should own this book. Everybody should own that book. If you don't own it, you're in the wrong. Edwards and McGee. That's the eighth edition. I hate that my bookshelf is I hate that my bookshelf is all color coordinated. You want to check this out? You want to see what's really cool? It's a shame that I didn't get to have lunch with him before he passed away. Where the hell are all the prices? Killing me. Where are all the prices? Alright. Hold on. Come on. It looks like this. You want to learn how to trade the markets? Try reading that book. Yep. Oh yeah. Try reading that. Go ahead and try to read that. Double Dog Dairy. I sat here and looked at Mr. Zhao's book. I'm like, thanks. He gave it to me in 2007, and I'm like, you know, it's like, so it's written in Chinese. Then you have durable goods orders here. And it's like, how's the Asian guy or gal who's reading this book supposed to read that? You gonna read that? You read that? By the way, read this way. Anyway, I think what we're going to see is we're going to see books that are quoted in, you know, different prices. You know, you're going to see the in U.S. $10.95, Canadian $14.95 thing again. Hey, some traders in my chat room, and I haven't had a chance to reach out to them personally yet, but I want to thank them for the wonderful birthday gift, or Christmas gift, sorry, birthday gift, Christmas gift, that they sent me from PGA. It was really, really awesome. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Can't wait to use it. Although it's a little chilly today and it's actually cloudy. Very often, but it is. Ziggy, is the sound all right now? All right. Lucas says, I remember some monster moves years ago, both between Christmas and New Year's Eve and beginning of January. I think the market may have a big flush for this year too. Dollar yen to 121, euro parity, cable 120, etc. You know, I can't rule out those types of moves this year. I tell you, I would be very, very, very careful being short the U.S. dollar between Christmas and New Year. I do think that. Wow, look at crude still selling off. I really think that the dollar demand going into year end could be pretty strong. Like I've said, the last few days, in the last week, there. Here, hold on.
All right. Hopefully it sounds better now. Um, what was I going to say? I was just saying about dollar demand. I think dollar demand is going to be pretty strong going into year end. So we have to be really careful with being short the dollar. Vince said, "Make sure you use it to play the stadium course." I think you said you never played there. Oh, I am. I played the Champions course plenty of times. I've been wanting to do the stadium course. So thank you, Vince, and thank you very much, by the way. You know, specifically Vince, Stan, Ron, Eric, Matt, Craig, and Jack, Chi. Thank you all, and not in any particular order, and everybody else that was that's in my it's in the chat room. I really, really thank you guys. Thomas asked, "What's my handicap?" I haven't kept my handicap in a few years, but it's about a 25, I would say, realistically these days. It's because my short game, like anybody who plays only once every 2 months, anybody's short game it's horrible. You know, I'll be on the green in two, and then I'll three putt, and then I got a bogey. That's the story of my life. You know, I can drive, I can use my irons. I'm not embarrassed. I don't get very many snowmen. If I might have a snowman in you know, just kind of an off shot, and I count every shot. But yeah, my short game is just, it stinks. You know, I just don't putt and chip enough to be super consistent like I had been in years past. Well, guys, there's crude under pressure. Stocks aren't really doing much. You know, let's really quick take a look at the futures. And they're not really doing much either. Daniel says, what do you think are the best currencies to scalp? So far, I like the dollar, yen, euro dollar, and Aussie. And what session do you recommend I should trade in? So far, I'm doing better in the European session than I try to scalp the Asian session. It seems most currencies are making advanced patterns in the 30-minute chart instead of following a trend and usually get squeezed. What I like about scalping is that you can wait for the market to trend and catch high probability trades with very good risk-reward ratio. What do you think? Sorry for the long question. Yeah, you know, Asian markets are going to get, first of all, liquidity is poor, so the spreads are going to be typically a little wider. When you're scalping, spreads matter. They really do. So scalping in the European and North American sessions are usually the best times. You know, the euro, the pound, the yen. I mean, I like any of the majors really. You know, the euro yen is good. The pound, euro pound are good pairs. Those are, you know, pretty liquid currencies. Pairs that I mean. Kiwi's going to have probably a little bit bigger spread than most. You know, I like scalping all the majors really. So. Denise says, thanks for a great experience. What do you see for spiders? Thanks. Let's take a look, Denise. Well, you know, it's just like anything. Here's your spies. Um, we're probably overbought, like the Dow and everything else. Let me see if we can. I mean, the 161% extension still has some distance to go. About at the 160, well, or a little exceeded the 161% extension here. Um, I mean, you'd have to imagine if the Dow hits new highs and the spiders are going to, get up and go. I think while you're above this support here, there's no real reason to be too aggressively short, though. That breakout point should hold, and when the breakout point gives way, that's when you can kind of shift to being more on the short side, I think. Joe said, I know for a fact that Canadian producers from Fort McMurray with the June wildfires have only begun to come back online in December. That's interesting. Well, maybe that'll help the economy a little bit. Rick said, what's that line on for the dollar Canadian? Just kidding. Gonna miss you, man. Thanks, Rick. Travis asked, who is that book by? Oh, the technical analysis of stock trends is Edwards and McGee. I think John Edwards passed away. Is it John Edwards passed away? One of those two authors passed away. I forget which one, but it's like in its 16th edition or something. It's here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Technical analysis of stock trends. This is like the technical analysis Bible right here. Okay. So this is the technical analysis Bible. What is that? $1.99? What? $1.99? Hardcover? What? $1.99? You gotta buy that. Holy cow. Because this is how much it usually costs. Well, that's a first edition. You can get like a, let's see, shopping. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can get them for about 50 bucks. But what was that at $1.99? Where did we see that? At Barnes and Noble? Somebody's got to buy this. Somebody go buy this right now. If you don't own it, here, I want to put it in the chat box. Oh, that's cheap. I don't even believe that price. Like, here you go. I put it in the chat box. I mean, I don't know what this is, 7th edition. So anyway, yeah, $1.99. I've never seen it at that price ever, ever. Um, Greg says, I live in Canada. I think it was 1998. I went to Hawaii and paid $1.53 or so for a US dollar. Cheap vacation. Yeah, that would have sucked. That would have really sucked. That's ridiculously expensive. Um, Ron says, Blake, that's just for the hardcover. I mean, is that just for the hardcover? Is that what? No, it's for the. I mean, it's a hardcover. Yeah, it's for a hardcover book, right? Right. Ron said nothing inside the cover. Maybe not. There's no book. It's just the actual cover. I don't know. I mean, it's. I don't know. That's crazy. crazy. Anyway. All right, guys. I'm going to put you guys on hold for a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back to continue answering your questions. I'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, guys and gals, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Lunch Money webinar. Here's the latest edition. That's the 10th edition. That was posted by Russ. Thank you very much, Russ. Actually, hold on, where are we? Hold on. One of my buddies is on the he's on a ship. And he's texting me from a ship, from a cruise. Lucas says, have you ever tried intraday options for currency trading like binary options? No, I don't trade binary options because I don't, well, maybe the liquidity has changed, but I did not like the liquidity in binary options from what I saw. Two said, hey Blake, what do you think of Bitcoin? Let me just stop there. That's a good one. What do I think about Bitcoin? You must not have been listening to this for a long time. You don't know me very well. He goes, do you trade it? Would you consider it a currency? Bitcoin has been the only currency pair outperforming the King dollar recently. Best wishes for your future. I'm really not a fan of Bitcoin. And I really don't think, honestly, I don't even think if everybody in the world recognized it as a actual currency, I would ever do anything but short it. But that's just me. I'm very biased towards Bitcoin. I think it, having a cryptocurrency that is made out of thin air that really has nothing to back it, no economy, no people, no ideology, nothing. I just don't know. I would never, like I said, if there's anything that I would ever do is I would short Bitcoin. And I wish I still have I wish I still had my my blog on Bitcoin when it was trading right here, and I'm like, oh man, that's going to be the best short in the world, and then it just went to hell in a handbasket. But I don't trade it. I could never, like in my right mind, hold Bitcoins and feel comfortable doing it too. So yeah, and thank you very much for the well wishes. I'm not a big fan of Bitcoin, but I mean it's moving. I mean you can also take the stance of like I don't care what it is and what it does. As long as it's moving and I can trade it and make money, I'll do it. And it has been strong, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And I think the fear of has obviously fueled this move. I mean, if you look at the most recent move since the election, this latest move, I think at some point people are going to realize that that maybe it's not as bad as it seems with the Trump presidency, and then they eventually reverse. Hold on, really quick. Stand by, guys. I got asked about the dollar yen. KH asked if you can fib it. The dollar yen, I shorted a little bit, like right here, about 20 minutes ago. I was looking at it as more of a day head and shoulder pattern, like right here, like a little head and shoulder pattern that looked like this at the time as I did it. Kind of like this. I think it's going to sell off a little bit, but I'm not comfortable with it. I'll probably just close it out here in a minute. Not really doing a whole lot. I was more doing that to just kind of keep myself busy. Because ultimately I think the dollar yen's moving down to like 116 and change. So Daniel says, you're such a great guy. It's really sad. I got to know you just a month ago. I already followed you on Twitter. I look forward to your future. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. Um, Dave says, look at NVIDIA. It's gone parabolic. Oh, I love parabolic. When things go parabolic like this, it has parabolic. Damn, that is scary. Stocks that do this scare the crap out of me. I just got out of my dollar yen, by the way. I didn't want to be in it. I just flatted it. Um, I don't even know where you would like to even consider shorting it, but man, that is crazy. Look at that thing. You kidding me? That's nuts. That is nuts. This thing's gonna, stocks like that when this is like the latter stages of its move. It's gonna crash and burn, and it's gonna hurt a lot of people. I suspect at some point. Kyle said it's so cheap because it's an older edition, maybe? I guess. I don't know. Alan says it's the book without the jacket. It's all mine. Whoa! Rick said crude may, now of gunning for this 161% extension may have tagged. Let's see. You're probably talking intraday, so let's see. Here. Whoo. Ha. Whoo. Ha. Hmm. Um. mm, Maybe that one. Got it. Bill says your broker allows you to flatten trades. I did that once and got a nasty call from my broker that it was against regulations, couldn't carry a box trade on FX. I was aware on equities, but wasn't aware the rule applied to currency trade. No. When I flatted my trade, meaning I just got out of it, and I actually got out of it too early. Flatted it, meaning I just took it off the table, paid for my commissions, and that was it. Could have made more money in it though. Varden says, Mr. Blake, we are really going to miss you. Oh, thanks, Varden. I'm going to miss you too, man. Carol said, would you please put Steven's email in chat box or screen? Kip, do you know Steve Bilby's email? Don't we have, does he answer s.bilby@wisetrade.com?
Not sure.
I try that one, and if that one doesn't work, then you should ask him when he comes back on air.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one is his.
Yeah, he has a personal one. I don't want to give you his personal one. I'll let you ask him because he's got a few different emails, and I don't know which one he uses for work purposes. So.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, what's up, Kip?
Not much, man. How are you?
Good. We're just sitting here talking about books, trading,
Yeah.
Canada. Yeah. So I found my old Mark Douglas, the Disciplined Trader book that had his signature from '98.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. The late Mark Douglas.
Oh, man.
Yeah, crazy, crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
Crazy, crazy.
Anyway, all right. Well, I'm gonna let you guys go. I got a few things I got to do before I do my exit interview with the HR department at Ally. So,
Ah, okay.
you guys have a great one. I will catch you tomorrow morning on the Morning Edge.
Yes, sir. We will. Have a good
Thanks,
afternoon, Blake.
everybody. Thanks. You too. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. I'm going to put you on a real quick break, and then when I get back, we'll get it.